Morning, everyone. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the Monday, September 30th, 2024 Board of Control meeting. It is 11:01 a.m. We have Joseph Nani serving as an alternate for Meredith Turner.
Present.
Councilmember Dale Miller.
Present.
Trevor Meckler serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones Jr.
Here.
Melanie Say serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Ronay, County Executive.
Here.
Michael Chambers, Fiscal Officer, serving as Chairman.
Here.
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the review and approval of the minutes from September 23rd. I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Melanie Say. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Let's go to our first item.
First item, BC 2024-697, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Amazon Web Services in the amount not to exceed $180,000 for cloud hosting services, disaster recovery, backup, and secure application access for external employees for the Enterprise Resource Planning System for the period March 1st, 2025 through February 28, 2026, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. AWS has held our cloud hosting services as present supplier, and we wanted to continue with them. with the existing service. The dollar amount, the 180, is the same amount as last year, which is a piggyback off the State Department of Administrative Services contract. And this is also needed, obviously, since we switched over from physical tape backup to virtual.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-698, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $12,399.96 for a state contract purchase of various HP equipment, 10 Thunderbolt docks and class Webcom LCD monitors, 4 27-inch and 10 34-inch curved, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. These are items that are provided state term contract via M&J, and they're for the replenish of stock at IT.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-699, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $26,566.49 for state contract purchase of 3 Access panoramic cameras, each to include licensing and support services for a period of 1 year, and 1 video recording server, miscellaneous equipment, installation, programming, and setup at the Quincy Place Neighborhood Family Service Center located at 811 Quincy Avenue, Cleveland, for surveillance of the parking lot and sidewalk areas, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, David DeGrandis from the Department of IT. There have been an increase in car thefts and break-ins and county employees' cars at the site, and there are no county cameras at that site in the exterior. So this is extending our existing system, enterprise class system, out to Quincy Place. And should we leave that space prior to, within the next 5 years, the useful life of the cameras will take them with us.
Okay, David, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-700, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $115,130 for a state contract purchase of 18 Meraki wireless access point. Each includes a 5-year Meraki MR Enterprise Cloud Controller license, 8 Cisco 9300L Ethernet network switches. Each includes a 3-year digital network architecture advantage license and related accessories for use at the Veteran Service Commission located at 3950 Chester Avenue, Cleveland, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. The RFP exemption is via state term pricing with M&J. The wireless access points through Meraki is the platform. That's the IT standard, and has read into the record. This is for the new existence of the Veteran Service Center, new address 3950 Chester.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Nani. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-701, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Entrust Corporation in the amount not to exceed $41,480.10 for the purchase of various Entrust managed SSL enterprise account certificates to provide secure transmission of data on Cuyahoga County web servers for the period October 28, 2024 through October 27, 2025, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. Excuse me, Entrust is the current IT standard. We currently have services with them. These are the certificates held for the managed services, website account services. We did not want to go down the path of going with anyone else at this time, since we're switching over from the domains of .us to .gov on the mailing system.
Okay, Dennis, thank you again. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nani. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-702, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Medical Examiner's Office, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount not to exceed $13,828.60 for 4 Microsoft SQL Server Standard Core licenses for a period of 2 years, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. These Dell, Microsoft are database management license IT standard. Once these roll off in the 2-year period, they will go into the Dell Microsoft Enterprise Agreement countywide.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-703, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Great Northern Consulting LLC in the amount not to exceed $128,000 for maintenance and support of the Sun Solaris operating system T4 servers and migration to new servers on an as-needed basis, effective upon signatures of all parties for a period of 1 year, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This contract with Great Northern is for the migration and support. We're physically going from 5 boxes down to 3 in a new software platform.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-704, Department of Human Resources, submitting an amendment to a contract with WorksTime LLC for Affordable Care Act third-party administrative services for the period May 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2024, to extend the time period to April 30th, 2025, effective upon signatures of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $50,000.
Stephen Witt with Human Resources. This is an amendment with WorksTime, our current Affordable Care Act third-party administrator. The services that they provide keeps us in compliance with the Affordable Care Act, primarily on the issuing of 1094 and 1095Cs that you receive around tax time each year. We conducted an RFP earlier this year for replacement services, and through various delays, we've elected to amend this contract through April of next year, allowing WorksTime to handle the entirety of the 2024 tax year and those filings, and the new vendor will start and handle 2025.
Let the record reflect Councilmember Meredith Turner is now present.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-705, Clerk of Courts submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to United States Postal Service in the amount not to exceed $475,000 for the purchase of refill postage for the period September 30th, 2024 through January 31st, 2025, in accordance with Civil Rule Number 4 of the Ohio Rules of Civil Procedures, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Hi, good morning. My name is Angela Williamson, and I'm here on behalf of Clerk of Courts Naya LaBird. The item before you today is a request for funds to refill our postage meter, which will allow the Clerk of Courts office to continue to fulfill their statutorily required duties. These funds are built into our annual approved budget.
Thank you, Angela. Appreciate that. Are there questions from the board on this?
Yes.
Councilman?
Do we have to pay the same rate that anybody would pay at the post office, or do we get a discount because of the size of the purchase?
I can look into that for you and get you an answer.
Okay. I'm pretty certain we get a discount because of the postage meter, but make sure you get back. Okay,
Will do.
thank you. Are there any additional questions? Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Melanie Say. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-706, County Prosecutor submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Magnet Forensics LLC and the amount not to exceed $163,170 for the renewal of Gray Key software licenses to unlock and decrypt data in mobile devices for the period December 23rd, 2024 through December 22nd, 2027 for use by the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Dave Terry, County Prosecutor, Internet Crimes Against Children. We've been using Gray Key now for, this will be going on year 4. We had a 3-year license initially. This is a renewal of that license. And in that time, Gray Key was purchased by Magnet Forensics. This will allow us to continue to legally access locked and encrypted mobile devices seized from our offenders after we obtain a search warrant for the examination of those devices. This software has been instrumental in more than 150 devices that we've been able to unlock that relate to child exploitation offenders.
Thanks, Dave. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-707, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services recommending an award on RQ 13600 and submitting a contract with Leonardo U.S. Cyber and Security Solutions LLC and the amount not to exceed $290,449 for the fixed automated license plate reader expansion project for the purchase and installation of 9 new cameras at various intersections in Cuyahoga County and maintenance services and software warranty support for the period September 30th, 2024 through November 30th, 2027.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And as the clerk has read, these are for the LPR projects going into 9 communities. This is a grant-funded project. It was competitively bid. The recommendation is to the highest rated proposal. And the funder, Ohio EMA, has approved this award.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item?
I do
Please,
have a question.
please.
Can you tell us what's the functionality of these cameras? What kind of data are they recording and for what purpose?
They collect license plates. So as a car drives to an intersection, it takes a photo of the license plate and it sends it back to a database. If there's an alert out for that license plate, it will notify that this vehicle that you're looking for has just gone through this particular intersection, or the data is also, it's maintained on file for a period of time, so if law enforcement needs to research it, they can go back and look. They can look for a particular license or a color and make of car.
Can any agency access this data? Is this an Ohio State?
This is actually through the county's data warehouse, so it would be any community in Cuyahoga County.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2024-708, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services recommending an award on RQ 14493 and submitting a contract with Case Western Reserve University in the amount not to exceed $199,043 for evaluation services for the Cuyahoga County Diversion Program, inclusive of call and helpline services, diversion center operations, and crisis intervention team training, and its overall impact on the justice system effective upon signatures of all parties for a period of 1 year.
Good morning. This is another grant-funded project. This was also competitively bid, and the recommendation is to make an award to the top-rated proposal. As the clerk has read, this is evaluation is going to be on all components of the diversion center, the operations, as well as the other 2 subs on that contract. And they're going to be looking at the fidelity to the overall program, conducting surveys and interviews, and analyzing metrics. And at the end, we'll have a report.
Thank you again, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes, who else bid on this contract?
Tell you that. Penn and Associates, Philbar Research and Evaluation, and Measurement Resource.
Okay.
Additional questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-709, Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Director, recommending an award and submitting an agreement with Cleveland State University in the amount not to exceed $240,571 to provide funding to hire a compliance and research officer to research and evaluate compliance issues with the new Cuyahoga County Welcome Center, including liaison services between center customers, legal authorities, and community partners for the period September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2026.
Good morning. David Merriman here is the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services, presenting a contract with Cleveland State University. We will be working with both the Levin Center, the Levin Law School, as well as the Center for International Services and Programs. This contract is for 2 years, so it's approximately $120,000 a year. And Cleveland State University will be providing support to the Cuyahoga County Welcome Center to develop policies, procedures, and practices that engage with area businesses, helping to place immigrants and refugees in jobs. Just for context purposes, as this is a new program, approximately 14% of the country's population is foreign-born. However, 19% of the workforce is foreign-born. We can also, I'd like to share that of the approximate 1.2 million new births of the approximately 1.2 million additional residents that are living in America, 500,000 are through new births, and the rest, 1.1 million, is from immigration. So immigration is a growing issue. We are seeing more and more residents move here. We know for the state of Ohio, the top location from anyone that has moved to Ohio is India. And also just want to share perspective from the Welcome Center. The primary service that people are receiving coming to the Welcome Center is public assistance, public benefits. Jobs is third. And the top 3 languages that are being spoken when people enter the Welcome Center are Ukrainian, Arabic, and Swahili. And Ukrainian is 27% of our services. This is a growing service. Many individuals coming to the Welcome Center are seeking benefits, but what they're asking for is assistance in applying for jobs and finding employment. Our staff don't have that experience. Cleveland State University is going to hire an attorney who will be placed with us that will be there to help us develop those policies and procedures and place residents in jobs. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, David. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes.
Please.
Was this item put out for bid?
It was not.
So how was the vendor selected?
We work with Cleveland State University for one of the reentry law clinics, and we also have been working with them on immigration discussions, given the fact they're number 1 downtown. They have a significant immigrant population. Their program, the Center for International Services and Programs, has features such as they have a portal that tracks and walks students through visas. So they are a subject content expert that we felt as a local government we could work with a political subdivision to quickly develop our policies and procedures.
So I came away from the answers to the written questions not clear. In one place, it said that the aim was to provide legal services, and in another place it said no direct legal services would be provided. Could you clarify this?
Yes. So these staff, like the staff person we're hiring, is going to help us to create policies, procedures. Will not be providing direct legal services to individuals walking through the door. Some of what they will do is they'll work with community providers such as the Legal Aid Society and Cleveland State Law Clinics, we hope, to provide direct legal services. And I think that the key here is, although they are an attorney and although they will be placed within the law department, their principal job is to do capacity building and technical assistance, not be an on-site lawyer for people walking through looking for legal advice. I'd also like to say the element of this that is compliance is not compliance of the Welcome Center, but is really looking at the issue of compliance that many employers struggle with that prevent them from hiring employees. And so this will be helping to document what those issues are and develop materials that prepare employers to understand what compliance requirements are associated with hiring immigrants.
So what would be an example of a compliance issue that an employer might face?
So there are many paths to citizenship that are confusing. I have to admit, I'm still learning. I think an example is Ukrainians coming to the United States are deemed parolees, which automatically, I think, has a connotation that they're in some ways involved with the justice system. They're not. They have come here with a passport, but they are an unauthorized visitor in the eyes of the federal government. Many of them are looking for jobs, but they're unable to get jobs when they don't have the proper documentation. So you have many Ukrainians coming with professional degrees that want to work, and you have employers that want to hire them, but they don't know how to hire a parolee that is an unauthorized, that is in an unauthorized status despite being here legally. And I think on a case-by-case basis, we need to connect them either to an attorney or have some resources available for that employer to understand what are the trade-offs of the various paths to employment as well as citizenship. This is one of the most complex systems that we have encountered. It is, I think it is not designed to help newcomers get jobs, and that's partly what we're trying to address.
So, why do we need a contract to do this? Why can't we just find an attorney that has the requisite expertise and hire that person?
I think it's a good question. I think at this point, we want to create the program, create the structure. In time, we may hire an attorney. I don't know that naturally the county is in the position to be offering legal advice to residents. I think there are law firms that provide those services. I also think there are organizations like Legal Aid that are developing the capacity and provide those services. What I think is happening is there's a disconnect between where the resources are and where employers' needs are. And I think part of our goal will be to create a program that I think helps make referrals and helps manage the populations coming to us, which generally are coming with very different backgrounds. And it is almost on a community-by-community basis that we end up creating an initiative to respond to their needs. And so this is program development, this is capacity building. We hope to create it within the Welcome Center. In the future, we'll decide whether we need an on-site attorney or whether or not having this referral and having the ability to just connect individuals to law firms or to programs is enough. So this is part of the point of developing this in this way.
Okay.
Are there additional questions?
No, but I have a comment. I think possibly we should reword the agenda caption instead of saying compliance issues with the new Cuyahoga County Welcome Center, because it seems like it's not an issue with the Welcoming Center. It's for trying to help them determine the compliance.
No, I appreciate that. Again, there are not compliance issues with the Welcome Center per se. It is determining compliance in the community. So I think there's a draftsmanship issue there, but I think the body of the contract is clear.
Mr. McAleer, please.
David, if this person's not going to be providing legal advice, I'm struggling with similar to what Councilman Miller asked about the advanced questions, but also if it's referring to law firms to help out this person, why is a lawyer needed then if they're not going to be providing legal advice? And my concern is if they are providing legal advice and it could be incorrect, what happens if the advice is wrong? And then is the county on the hook for something that we provided some incorrect guidance on by doing this?
Yeah, I think, again, the question about is an attorney providing legal advice on our behalf, I think we have a contract with Legal Aid. They do some of that. It is a small contract. It does end next year. And this is a service that's needed in the community. I think there's a lot of confusion. If you are a newcomer and you're coming to Cuyahoga County, it can be very complex and difficult to find where resources are. This is the point of us seating this in the Welcome Center. So when someone is coming forward needing housing, needing public assistance, needing a food basket, you have, in essence, a referral strategy. You have a connection to a network of services that you can provide to those newcomers to say, this is where you go. At the end of the day, we're hiring an attorney so that attorneys can work with other attorneys and law firms. I think there's elements of this that frankly are above the knowledge level of the Department of Health and Human Services. And I think we want to ensure that what is created fits within both our legal community, fits within existing businesses and nonprofits, but is, I think, really designed to help residents move through that legal process, regardless of the resources they come in, regardless of the knowledge that they come in with. And we hope to do this in an expeditious manner. We don't want this to take, take forever to create that network, because people need jobs now.
So is our intention that after the 2 years are done, that we're going to know what the policies and the procedures and the networks and the connections are, and that we won't need the contract going forward?
That's my hope. And so much like yes, Councilman, much like our program with Resource Cleveland, we've spent the past 3 years or 2 years, we have 1 year left, creating what I think is the system that serves newcomers. At the end of that contract, we're going to assess, do we need to continue to provide services in that way, or can we take them in-house? That will be the same question here. Will we need to continue to have Cleveland State, or, if in this we realize it does make sense to have a staff attorney, then that's something for us to consider and bring back through the administration in the budget process.
How do we know we need 2 years and that 1 year isn't enough?
I think at this point, this is so complex. We've spent the past 2 years just figuring out the process for referral for social services, and we're still working that out, and those are our social services. And I think what we're encountering as we look at the federal law and policy around immigration is it's much more complex than SNAP and Medicaid. And it is, I think it's a daunting task. And so this is, I think, giving us a 2 year window to really do the research and come back with clear recommendations. I think it will take every bit of 2 years.
David, will this person be housed at the Welcome Center?
Primarily, yes. But they also will be connected at Cleveland State. They will have resources, and I don't know how Cleveland State assigns seats in the current work policy, but we do want them on site at the Welcome Center.
So does the contract state that is the person there 40 hours a week, 20 hours a week? What are they required to be at the Welcome?
Well, they're a 40-hour-a-week employee. We expect them to be on site. We expect them to be available for some of the big events, understanding who's coming in. We hope to bring in more legal resources to those newcomer days. But, we also understand there will be times they will be off-site at CSU events, and they'll be at CSU staff meetings. And so I do think it's a mix. The Welcome Center primarily works Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. And so those are our primary expectations. They'll be on site those days unless there's something else going on. And so then we'll make a decision whether they should be on a Monday at CSU or at the Welcome Center, even if there are no services being provided.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to suggest that we just hold this for 1 week for a little further discussion and thought on this.
Okay, is there any further questions that David can answer for you now, or you just want more background, or? Please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Served as Senator Brown for the Christian Liaison. We know quite a lot about this area here. This is a
I believe it's a compliment. We've worked with Joe Semperman all along. He was unavailable to be here today. So this will absolutely work in partnership with Global Cleveland. I think the space right now that is being developed does include Global Cleveland, includes GCP, Greater Cleveland Partnership. It includes Cleveland State, and then I think there's a lot of nonprofits, and I think that's part of the issue. Is there's a lot of folks starting to come into the space, and part of the county's role, I think, is to start to organize the space, try to document who's doing what and how our service is being provided, so that we can push that out to the community. I also hope this will be a complement to the work that's being done at the federal level. And I think this is, it is a complex political issue, but at the same time, I do think there's advocates that want us to be more responsive and supportive. We just have to recognize Cuyahoga County is a grain county. We are at the top of the list of counties that have, I think, a declining potential for workforce. So we do want to get ahead of, I think, unfortunately, the aging of America, to have more immigrants coming to us and taking on work. I know that's largely been represented by many at the national level, but not everyone, and we think it's important to charge forward.
I think that we're on. I do support my colleagues' dialogue. So it needs to be a little more clear.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll have to hold it for a week, okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-710, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in award recommendation to Q Minder LTD in the amount not to exceed $17,000 for the pilot program of a queuing system for visitors to the Virgil E. Brown Building for the period September 30, 2024 through September 29, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Cuyahoga Jobs and Family Services. Again, this is a contract with Q Minder LTD for queuing services for the Virgil E. Brown Building on Payne Avenue. The queuing system is similar to the system you might encounter at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. A customer will enter VEB and enter their name and the reason why they are there at a kiosk on an iPad. That information will be sent to a CJFS staff who will be better able to direct those people coming in. The hope is to create some efficiencies and to reduce the wait times.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-711, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a master contract with various providers for short-term emergency child care for children in the county's custody for the period September 1st, 2022 through July 31st, 2024, as listed for items A through C on the printed agenda, and item D, the Centers for Families and Children, to extend the time period to September 30th, 2024, to expand the scope of services to add the Thrive-In model effective May 1st, 2024, and for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $57,120.
Good morning again, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. Again, this is a contract amendment for our short-term emergency child care master contract, but specifically for the centers. We are adding the component to their contract for the kids in the T-Suites program. The Thrive-In model stands for teaching, healing, resilience, independent living skills, vocational training, and entrepreneurship in care and beyond. The goals of Thrive-In are to provide essential fundamental life strategies of social awareness, self-awareness, entrepreneurship, writing, and critical analysis, as well as increase youth verbal communications aptitudes and individual capacity to engage successfully in personal learning and community processes.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Moving on to consent agenda items,
Consent agenda.
BC 2024-712 through BC 2024-715.
Just a couple of items, board members. If there's any questions, feel free. Okay, seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve today's agenda items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The items are approved. Moving on to other business.
Yes, we have one other business, time-sensitive mission critical. Department of BC 2024-716, Department of Information Technology recommending award and submitting a purchase order to Integrated Precision Systems Incorporated and the amount not to exceed $6,329.06 for an emergency service call, purchase and replacement of 4 hard drives, and restoration of Milestone video storage server capabilities and Jail 2 of the Justice Center.
Good morning, David DeGrandis from the Department of IT. We have a significant amount of our equipment that's reaching end of life. In order to extend the life of these servers, we were able to replace existing hard drives with updated ones. And we have a plan to move forward for both this year and next year to replace all end-of-life equipment.
Thank you, David. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The
Thank you.
item is approved. Thank you, David. No other business?
No other business?
Any public comment?
No public comment?
I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Melanie Say. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.